Hi everybody, welcome to our show, Positive Impact Project. This is Ingrid Karazinger and I am here today with Michelle. Michelle, tell us your last name.
DeRouen.
She said it's Cajun, so it's a little bit hard for, someone like me to pronounce it, but I love it. It's beautiful, especially when she says it. So welcome everybody to our show, and if you have any questions for her today as we talk to her about her work and her life, just feel free to type those in. Otherwise, you can always do it after the fact, and we'll try to answer your questions after the show. Thank you so much for coming on with us today, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your work and what you do.
So 9 years ago, I started a company called Float Houston Health and Wellness, and I have sensory deprivation tanks. So just a little technical information, these tanks have 10 inches of water, and they stay at body temperature or skin temperature, and there's 800 pounds in each tank, so you float on top just like a cork. And there's also a door that you can choose to close if you'd like to get the full sensory deprivation experience. So people that can't float in a pool or can't swim, everybody floats. I've had really large people to professional athletes with 2% body fat.
Wow.
And everybody floats.
Great. And so what is the purpose of these tanks?
So the main reason, the majority of people come in for stress relief. I know no one in Houston is stressed.
Third largest city now.
So for stress relief, I have people that want to deepen their meditation. It allows meditators to just get into it immediately because there's no light or sound or gravity to contend with. I have a lot of people with chronic pain that come in, fibromyalgia, arthritis, joint pain, people with insomnia, migraines, and I have a lot of people that are just tired of taking medications and they want to try to get off of their medications.
So do they do it on a weekly basis, or is it like a regular practice for them?
Some do. What I want to say about that is if you want, if you have some kind of infection in your body and the doctor gives you medication, you don't just take one pill and, expect it to be done. Same with like weightlifting. You don't go to the gym once and expect to have big old muscles. Same thing with floating. A regular practice is best. I have a large amount of people that come in after the first float and are just blown away by how good they feel and how peaceful they feel. And those who do it on a more regular basis, the effects are just cumulative. So they can just become more peaceful.
That's wonderful. So tell us what got you into this line of work.
I was doing a lot of work on myself, and I took a trip to London. I took a trip to Europe. I was backpacking, and I floated in London. And I can't remember if I sought it out or I said, "Oh, that looks interesting." So I went and I floated in London, and when I got out, I was one of those ones that was blown away. And I thought, I need to bring this back to Houston. And when I came back, there was nothing here like it.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything like that here either, or in many cities I've been in. I think that, is it fairly new, the idea in the U.S.?
No. It started in the late 50s with neuropsychologist John Lilly. He studied dolphins, and he had his own tank, and he used different psychedelics as well in his experiments. And then a couple of people, Lee and Glenn Perry, started the first commercial flotation center to, bring it to the public.
Okay. Well, and I guess it's starting to take off because people are realizing the benefit of that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And so you loved it, so you wanted to bring that to the world and be part of that.
Yes.
So it's something that, I guess you have several tanks and people can come. Is that how it works, or is it just one?
I have 2 tanks and 1 suite. So I have a lot of couples that like to come and float together.
Yeah. It sounds like something you should have on a Valentine's Day card. Float with me.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, it's separate time, but then you get out and people are never upset when they get out of the tank. They're never angry, you know? They're like, they kind of look like this. Oh.
If you have an argument, go float together. It'll be better after. I love that.
That's true. That's
yeah,
true.
I have no doubt. I mean, if you're that relaxed, you know.
I had one guy come from Galveston, and I tell this story all the time. He floated for an hour, and then he was on his way back to Galveston, and he called me and he said, I normally have a really bad road rage, and there's an accident, and they have us pulled off to the side, and normally, he said, I would be, you know, honking the horn and screaming. He said, I'm just sitting here going, it'll move.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not like that for everybody, but it's like that for some people.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I guess if you don't have that the first time, I guess after a couple times you probably would get more and more peaceful.
Well, and we do like a 3-pack. And the reason we do a 3-pack, we have a North American Float Conference. And you know, I've talked to a lot of float center owners, and we pretty much agree across the board. It takes at least 3 floats to really get into it, because a lot of people talk about having claustrophobia, and with claustrophobia, it's because you're not in control of your environment. Well, there's a top that goes on the tank that you can choose to close yourself. Some people choose to keep a crack in it, and some people choose to keep it wide open. But usually what happens with people that say they're claustrophobic, they end up closing the lid themselves. Because while you're laying, you can actually stretch your arm all the way out. So there's a lot of room in there. There's music that I play. There's also a light that the person floating is in control of. So they're in control of their environment. It's not like an MRI machine at all, which I haven't been in, but I've heard horror stories about. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that would make a difference if you got to push all the buttons and do everything yourself.
Yeah. Except for the music. Okay. They're not in control of it.
Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about anything you've got going on right now, maybe the website, how they can find you, things like that.
Okay. My website is www.floathouston.com. You can look me up. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitter. I have a Facebook page as well, that is Float Houston.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is probably come out and do a little behind the scenes with her, because I really want to get more on video of what you're doing out there. So we'll have to do that sometime too, so everybody can get a closer look. I would love that too, if you had some insight, some information, something teachable that people might walk away with today, as far as maybe what they can do on their own or at home. I mean, is this something that they could do if they wanted to?
This particular isn't, you know, some people say, well, I can just put salt in a bathtub and float in my bathtub.
Well, usually they're not big enough to float in.
Well, they're not big enough.
Or your life is pretty good if your bathtub is that big.
The water cools off, so, you know, we have it specialized to where it stays at the same temperature. And the reason for that is after about 5 minutes, you can't feel the water anymore. So it feels like you're just floating in thin air. And
that sounds really wonderful.
I know, it is. I see a lot of colors when I float because it's pitch black. I choose to have it totally black. I see lots of colors that happen. Some people say they feel like they're moving. Some people lose track of where they are. Some people go to sleep. You can fall asleep in there. And you don't turn over because there's no pressure points. That's why people with fibromyalgia like to float, because there are no pressure points at all.
That's great. Wow. Well, thank you so much. Tell us a little bit too about moving forward. Is there anything that you have in the works for us that we should know about?
Well, not too many people know about this, but I will be adding some services. I do animal communication, and I've been doing it informally for friends over the years. I also do house cleansing and house clearings that I'll be doing. Blessing ways for pregnant women, instead of, or in addition to, you know, a baby shower. It's a more spiritual rite of passage for the mother and baby. and also maiden ceremonies, so kind of coming of age ceremonies for girls that don't have quinceañeras, or they don't, they're not of the Jewish faith.
Mm-hmm.
There's really nothing out there for
true.
the other girls if they want to have that rite of passage, and it's very sacred and spiritual. So I've offered that. And I'm also an ordained minister, so I'll be offering my services there as
Wonderful,
well.
wonderful. Is that all going to be in a different website, or?
It's gonna be on my Float Houston website, and also, the biggest one, I'm gonna be doing coaching. A lot of times, people get into an environment where you're alone with just your thoughts, and they have stuff that comes up while they're floating. So they come out and they want to talk about it. So I've been doing transformational work for over 20 years, and I've been doing informal coaching, so just throwing my hat in there.
Great. It sounds like it goes hand in hand with what you're doing already.
It does.
So
it does.
I'm sure that that's a valuable part of the experience for people.
It is,
to have that support.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So all that's going to be on our website, again, floathouston.com. If you want to find out more about Michelle. And again, if you have any questions after our show, feel free to send them in. We'll see if we can get some answers for you. Mm-hmm. Thanks again, Michelle, for coming on today. This has been a real treat. And of course, I want to go try it out now. So we're going to have to do that.
You're going to have to film it.
And I was thinking I'm going to have to film that behind the scenes and kind of my experience with it, because it'll be a first for me. I love water and I love sensory deprivation, so that whole thing is going to be a wonderful experience for me. And I've always taught meditation, things like that, since I was very young, and there are so many different types of meditation, and this is just one that I have never explored. It really is, isn't it? More of a meditation for people.
Yes.
The deepest kind, probably.
Yes.
Physically.
Yeah. Usually I tell people that if they meditate, come and do 90 minutes, because an hour goes by just really fast for them.
Wow. That's really interesting too. You'd think, can I float for a whole hour? But that's really cool that it actually does feel like time just goes by quickly.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you, and thank you all for joining us today. I hope you had got a little bit more insight into the world of floating. Thank you, Michelle, and we hope to see you again on our show when we come visit you. Stay tuned. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.